This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
This special message about the importance of the recitation of Tehillim is dedicated by my dear friend Rav Kenneth Pinsauer. May all of our tefillos be neskabel, berachamim, uveratzaim. The recitation of Tehillim is a very important part of the Torah learning and Torah diet of any observant Jew. Even someone occupied in the study of in-depth Gemara, in-depth Talmud, nevertheless it is important to dedicate time for the recitation of Tehillim. Who was greater than Reb Chaim Kanievsky, who completed the entirety of the Torah annually? Nevertheless, the recitation of Tehillim was a daily part of his schedule. Reb Chaim would say one chapter of Tehillim daily, that is until he got up to the middle of the month of Av. The last 15 days of Av, he would say 10 chapters a day until Rosh Chodesh Elul. Throughout Elul, he would say 10 a day to complete Tehillim twice before Rosh Hashanah. And during the 10 days of repentance, Reb Chaim Kanievsky completed the entire Sefer Tehillim every single day. That's something that could take a number of hours. Certainly it took time away from his other studies. From here we see the importance of Tehillim as part of the regular diet of Torah study of every Jew. But aside from it being part of the diet of one's Torah study, we have a tradition, and we'll see it goes back to that Arizal, that the recitation of Tehillim pushes away difficulties, troubles, challenges from the individual, from one's family, and from the entire generation. The Pelayoyetz, in his entry on Tehillim, writes, one who is raga, one who frequently says Tehillim, doicha kol minei paranios, he pushes away all kinds of punishment, ufegayim ra'im, and bad happenings, may Allah, from upon the person, umei al b'nei beisai, from his household, umei al mishpachtai, from his family, umei al kol b'nei doirai, and from the entire generation. So the recitation of Tehillim is beneficial for the individual, for one's family, and for the entirety of the Jewish people. But moreover, the Pelayoyed says, Umegalgel aleihem komine shefa brachos v'toivos v'hatzlachos. The recitation of Tehillim brings an outpouring of blessing, success, and all kinds of bounty from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So certainly, for one's own self, for one's own family, and to do so for another person, there is no greater chesed. And this is sourced in the Sefer Yesod Yosef from one of the earliest of the Sifrei Ashkenaz, and it goes back to the writings of the Arizal, that the recitation of Tehillim is exceptionally potent to push away difficulty from, again, the individual, the family, and the entirety of Klal Yisrael. Now we have a very interesting medrash in Medrash Shoichar Tov, where David HaMelech makes a request from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Please God, please consider the recitation of Tehillim as if one was engrossed b'negoyim v'oihalais, in the most complex and in-depth areas of Torah, the laws of tzaras, the laws of tumah. This was the request made by David HaMelech. It's very interesting, the Nefesh HaChaim, Reb Chaim Volozhinar, says that from here we see that in-depth learning is certainly on a much greater level than the mere recitation of Tehillim, because David asked that Hashem should reckon the recitation of Tehillim to be like in-depth learning. Furthermore, the Nefesh HaChaim says, we don't find that God acceded the request of David HaMelech. And that seems to be the position of Nefesh HaChaim. However, many Svarim tell us that if David HaMelech made the request, there is no doubt that Hashem acceded to that request. That is the opinion of Pelayoyetz, who says if David requested that the recitation of Tehillim be considered like in-depth learning, then in fact it is, to the extent where Eshel Avram of Buchach writes that even though it is preferable to arrange one's schedule where one learns Torah Shebechsav during the day and oral law at night, but one may recite Tehillim at night, because since David davened that the recitation of Tehillim should be like in-depth learning, and one is allowed to learn Negoim v'Oyalos at night, in fact, Tehillim is considered like Negoim v'Oyalos, and this is written already by many Rishonim. The Ri Ben Yakar, the Rebbe of Rashi, writes that in fact, recitation of Tehillim is reckoned like in-depth learning. And therefore Pelayoyed says that while in-depth learning is the most valuable type of Talmud Torah, but Tehillim cannot be overlooked, and it should be an important part of one's Torah diet, especially to daven for other people, exhibiting the midah of Rachmanis and Chesed. There is no greater kindness you could do for another Jew. May all of our tefillos be accepted, be neskabel, berachamim uveratzain, v'malei Hashem kol mashaleseinu l'taiva.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.